What up, y'all? How's it going? Good afternoon. Just about to start my day-ish. Got an email for the podcast tomorrow, so for the Zoom link, so I'm excited to do that. So that's fun. Rearranged some times for D&D this weekend, and that's about all I did this morning. And then just responded to some more feedback and messages from people on the PSA. So yeah, it's really dope. I'm really glad that people are sharing it. It means a lot to me that people feel connected with it enough and feel that it's a strong enough message to be sent and shared with other people. So I really appreciate the fact that that's happening. So thank you so much to everybody who's been watching and sharing the PSA. It really means a lot to me. Cool. Other than that, I'm gonna start working. There's a webinar that I'm gonna be attending around 5 o'clock about how to submit to the Emmys. So that's really cool. Someone sent it in the acting resource group. So I'm gonna go ahead and give that a watch at 5 o'clock, and then see what's good. Maybe we'll submit something to the Emmys in the future. So yeah. But other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and work for the next few hours and see where the day goes. So yeah, I gotta make a lot of money this month. So it is what it is. My brother and I just finished up watching the Michaud Film Festival How to Submit Your Indie Project to the Daytime Emmys, and it was super interesting, very informative, and yeah, seriously learned a lot. Learned that we could make content that qualifies for Emmys. The Emmys in particular, like if you have projects that are showcased on the internet, like YouTube or something like that, you can qualify for it. So that's really interesting to learn about, and the fact that anyone can submit, that's also very interesting to learn about. The thing is, it is a little costly to submit to the Emmys, and their guidelines as to what qualifies for certain categories. You really need to look in depth as to what those qualifications are, because if you're going to submit to it without reading the guidelines and rules, then you're just wasting your money, you know what I mean? So you really got to read the fine line of what qualifies and what they're looking for in terms of these submissions. But it's really dope to hear about how some people who have created content on YouTube have submitted for Emmys and either gotten Emmy nominated or possibly won an Emmy. I don't know in particular if anyone's won an Emmy, but people have been nominated for Emmys. So that's really interesting. Yeah, I think they did say, well, no, I don't know, but in 2000, they said that in 2007, the first YouTube series made an Emmy an Emmy debut. That was the first time YouTube made a debut in the Emmys. So that's pretty interesting. So yeah, it's just really dope to learn about this stuff, because in all honesty, you would I would have not known about any of this stuff. But it gives me I'm gonna go ahead and read through the rules over the rest of the time I have in the year, and see what I can formulate in my head to see if there's content that I can create that would qualify for an Emmy, and then work out budgeting numbers as well, for submissions. So that would be very interesting. I feel I would want to at least because you can either submit as a production, or you could submit individually. So if you have an individual will to submit your work, because they have individual categories like acting or cinematography or things like that, and if you feel your individual work is good but your production isn't submitting to the Emmys, I believe that you can submit as well as an individual. So that's pretty interesting. But you know, you have to do all the paperwork, and it's like a lot of work and a lot of out of pocket money that you need to dish up. So yeah, but I think like I would want to at least like budget for one submission cost every year. Which is doable. It's super doable if I take the whole year to just like budget that. So that's pretty interesting. And yeah, like I haven't worked on it a lot lately, but over the last like 2 to 3 years, I have been like writing a series to release like either online or like pitch to like a network or a streaming platform. So I think if I can like really like hound in on finishing that up within like this next year and try and like, you know, produce like at least 5 episodes, there might be a possibility to submit to the Emmys next year. That's like a very quick turnaround, and it's like obviously you would like have to have some sense of like quality to the content, you know, because obviously, you know, you would want to be nominated. You can submit, but like to be nominated is like that's like the real reward, and then to win is like an even better reward. So you don't want to like waste your money as well. So that would be interesting to see if I could like try and do that next year. But that's definitely a goal, and I'll read through the guidelines and all that stuff to figure out if I can do it logistically. So yeah, that's pretty dope. But cool. It's also tough because the pandemic is still happening, so that's like a really tough thing. But definitely a goal of mine that I have now. I also looked at the differences between submitting to the Emmys and submitting to the Oscars, and like there's a huge difference. The Oscars, there's a lot more like technical types of details in terms of how it's distributed and shown in terms of what qualifies for an Oscar. So I did have a goal of mine to like win an Oscar by the time I'm 28, but you know, just based off of like where I am right now in my career, that's really pushing it now that I've looked at the actual deadlines or the actual guidelines. Like that's probably really pushing it. It's possible, but just looking at like where I am and where I would need to go to get to those types of lengths and the types of investments it would take to get to those lengths, if I'm doing it all out of pocket, like yeah, that's tough. That's tough. Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of other routes that you can go, and it's still a goal that I do have, but definitely now, like looking at the Emmys, something that I can do within my own like means without getting external funding, external production, external distribution. The Emmys looks like something that's like definitely a reachable goal with the types of limitations that I currently have, or with the types of like capabilities that I have, not limitations. Yeah, with the types of capabilities that I have right now, an Emmy seems like a more reachable goal. Just in terms of like being able to do it with like, you know, homegrown type of stuff. You know, what I mean by homegrown is like me producing it, me directing it, me casting it, like, you know, like all of that stuff, you know, just doing it out of here and then distributing it on like YouTube or something like that. Yeah, the Oscars, it's like definitely going to be a lot more of an investment that I would need to do financially to get it to be at a point where it would even qualify. So that's like the interesting thing, and having to do that within the time frames as well for the Oscars. So like that's like gonna be really tricky to play around with. So yeah, it's just a lot to think about, but it's really dope. I'll put a link to the channel that did this webinar in the description below, because it was a YouTube live. I don't know if they're gonna post it as an individual video, but if they do, go check it out. But yeah, it was really cool. So, and it gave me a lot to think about for the new year. And since I'll be here working and not going home, you know, might as well take some time to just like really think and formulate stuff, ideas and plans. So cool. I talked for a really long time, apologize for that, but yeah. I don't really know if I have anything else going on tonight, but I'm gonna go ahead and call this a night right here. It's still really early, but yeah. This vlog seems like it's gonna be pretty long, so yeah. And I don't really have any other plans for tonight. So tomorrow I have my interview / podcast episode with Patricia, so I'm excited for that. That's gonna be in the afternoon tomorrow, and before that probably just work, and then work after that as well. So because your boy needs money. But yeah, I worked a little bit today, so that's good. Yeah, I only worked for a few hours today. It wasn't like a lot of money, but I mean, it's still something. So yeah, every little bit helps. So cool. All right, back on the workflow in terms of like driving and stuff, but I'm trying to see if I can budget my time and like discipline myself to like try and budget enough time to work and get enough money through work in terms of like driving, and then have enough time afterwards to work on like my creative content. So yeah, cool. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all and have a good night. Peace.